Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Raw Law Unfiltered with your host, the DUI Guy Plus. Today, we are going to be talking about a very recent, fun adventure that I have had driving all the way from Denver, Colorado to my home in Louisville, Kentucky in a 16 and a half hour span with no stops except for gas, restroom, snacks, and the prelude of how we got there. But first, I would like to share my newest purchase. It's my newest tug on a mug, or as I like to call them, my tug on a mug. And this one by far is one of my favorites. So if you don't have any of that Umbrella Guys merchandise, go check it out. It is absolutely legit and amazing. And the water, I'm telling you, water tastes different in these cups. Like when you buy these cups or mugs, water just tastes more delicious. I can't explain it. It's just facts of life. If you haven't tried it, try it. Prove me wrong. Tell me, no, this water tastes exactly the same, DUI guy. Prove me wrong. Oh, also, new Zinnia merch. Chad is always right with her beautiful photo. It's one of my favorite photos of her because she looks like she's lounging. She's got her paw because she was laying on the treadmill a few months ago. This is before I transformed this into a studio because I wouldn't be able to get that photo now since the desk is in the way, blocking it. But she's kind of like, she's got her paw in there and she's lounging. And I told him, make it crisper and turn it into a design for a t-shirt. We have a bunch of Zinnia merch right now, so go check it out. Link is in the description below. So thank you for the super chat. I literally just clicked it off on accident. There we go. Can't wait to hear about your adventures. Thank you, Subisu73. So let's talk about them. And just as the Bible suggests, in order to tell a good story, you have to begin at the beginning, right? So let's start. The real beginning, which we won't spend too much time on, I really did always want a Lambo. I mean, who doesn't? Every kid over the age of 5 that understands cars is like, I want a car. I want a sick car. I want a sweet car. I want a sports car, right? So obviously it's always been a dream. But then you become an adult and you're like, that's a lot of money. Why would you ever want to spend that kind of money on anything, especially like a car? Like a house, maybe. A car, though, like it doesn't make sense. And actually, for a while, my dream was to have a Mercedes, which was my first car. I still have her. My Maserati, my second car, which I still drive. She's my daily driver. And I wanted a Lambo. My Lambo, like that was literally my dream for like the last decade. Those three. Until about a year and a half ago, because I really truly began to realize how much Lambos cost. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I spend that much money when I can like literally put a down payment on a house, the price of a Lambo? And I gave up on it. I had no plans of buying it. I abandoned the dream. I abandoned the desire. Like I actually had no personal physical desire to purchase the vehicle, which is a very powerful feeling because these purchases are usually like, it's a feeling. They're attached to emotion. They're not just like, oh, this is a good investment. There's no logic. It's a, ooh, shiny toy, me want, me drive, me want, like there's no logical processing going on when you're thinking about these things. And so when you disconnect the desire for purchasing it from reality, you realize like, that's it. You are not going to ever get it. And I gave up on it. I actually physically did not want it. Emotionally did not want it. So I bought a car from a tractor manufacturer. Exactly. So fast forward to December of 22, just 3.5 months ago, or 2.5 months ago. And I'm in California. Actually, right before I left for California, I think it was right before Christmas. Yeah, I was bored. A Jew on Christmas, like Chinese food in a movie and our thoughts. Those are the only three things we have on Christmas because there's nothing else going on. Everybody's celebrating. So I ate my Chinese food. I watched my movie in the movie theater. Now I'm trapped with my thoughts. And my thoughts were, all right, I need to spend some of my money to buy an investment, like something valuable. And if you remember, I was looking at homes initially. Those of you who follow me on Twitter and have been following me for the last 3-4 months know, because I started posting. I was looking for a real estate agent. It was all legit. It was 100% legit. I was looking for a real estate agent. I found multiple. I was looking for houses. God bless whoever it was. I forget her name. She sent me like dozens and dozens and dozens of houses for me to look at. And I looked at every single one. I found the one I liked, or there was like 3 or 4 that I liked. One in particular. I made an offer and the prices were insane. They were literally insane. They were like, houses that were worth like 700,000 just 5 years ago were now like 2.1 million. Houses that were like a million 3 years ago were now like 2 million. The market literally spiked because of COVID, and the prices were extremely unreasonable, not commensurate with the value of the property, not commensurate with, like, the spike was completely artificial. There was not that much of a demand. And so I saw that because they dropped the price, like on one house, I remember it was like 2.2 million. They bought it for 1, then they increased it to like 2.2. That's how they put it on the market. And then they just started dropping it. And it was like 2.1, 2.0, 1.9, 1.8. And I put in an offer of, I think, like 1.5 or something like that. And it was just like, go away. And I'm like, all right. And actually, the real estate agent I talked to said, the next time you put in an offer, like 6 to 9 months from now, make it like 1.3 and they will take it. And they will regret not taking your 1.5. Because I was literally offering them it's like a tripling on their investment or something crazy like that. Not like they didn't buy it for 500, selling it for 1.5, but like the amount of money they spent, the amount of money they would have gained would have been triple what they actually spent out of pocket, which is insane. A tripling of your investment is in the housing market. It would be insane. And they still did not bite. So, and then I looked at interest rates. And on my way from California, when I surprised my parents for New Year's, I sat in first class. Just they upgraded me. I did not purchase a first class ticket, I don't think. I can't remember if I did or not. Maybe they were so close in price that I just was like $50 off, because I was literally buying a ticket less than 24 hours before my flight. So prices were insane. I can't remember, but I ended up sitting in first class and I sat next to a real estate agent. And we talked for like 2-3 hours about the market and rates and mortgages and everything. And he was like, don't buy right now. And I'm like, why? He's like, well, the rates are through the roof. And I'm like, I know, but I'm sitting on a pile. I need to spend it, And he's like, do something else with it. Like, you're not going to do yourself any favors, getting a home with a 7.3% interest rate. At the time it was like 6.9. In October it was like 7.3. Now it went back down. Now it's going back up again, like the last couple of weeks. Like February we saw a drop. Now, anyway, I digress. So I was like, okay. So he's like, so when should I buy? He's like, well, 6 to 9 months from now. I'm like, okay, all right, sounds fair. I'll do that. But what do I do now? And I didn't know. And leave it up to my buddy, Sasha, whose channel is Al Su Chess, AL space S is in Sam, U space Chess, CHESS. He's my homeboy, lives here in Louisville. We've been friends since college. And he and I are sitting around playing chess in the flesh. Like we have a chessboard that we play on, sometimes at his house, sometimes at my house. He's got kids, so it's a little difficult. And we're just sitting around playing chess, and he's like, Have you bought have you thought about buying like a car, like a Volvo or something? And I'm just like, yeah, but it was kind of like a pipe dream. And he's like, you should get a Lamborghini Urus, which is their SUV version. And I'm like, fuck would I get an Urus? Does it look like I have a family of 4 in tow? Like, come on, man. Why would I? And it hit me, dude, your dream car, like a Lambo Huracan or a Lambo Aventador or a Lambo Diablo, any of them, like they're back on the table now. Oh my God. Thank you for reminding me. This is like mid January. So, of course, I start doing my research. I want a car that's not going to because the old joke, it's not even a joke, it's a fact. When you buy a car from a dealer, let's say it's a $20,000 car, the minute you drive it off the lot, it's worth 17.5. That's a fact. Everybody knows that because the brand new car is always going to be. That's why it's recommended to buy a car with like 1,000 miles on it, because you're already buying it for like 18 and you drive it off the lot. Now it's worth 17.5. You just lost $500 instead of $2,500. So anybody worth their salt when it comes to buying cars will tell you that. Never buy a brand new car with 0 miles on it. So yeah, but I spoke to my dealer buddy and he gave me access, and I started looking at these cars and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue what's going on. And so I can tell Jocelyn is definitely not someone who follows me on Twitter, because she's like, please don't tell me you bought an Urus. Chat will fill you in, Jocelyn. So yeah, I started doing research and I talked to my buddy. I know he's into supercars. He's been photographing supercars for like a long time. So I talked to him. I talked to another buddy of mine who's a dealer. I talked to another friend has experience buying supercars. And I started realizing that it's actually better to buy, there's certain factors that it had to meet, right? It had to obviously look like the color combination is very important. It had to be 4-wheel drive because that's what the Lambos are known for. And fairly low mileage, I mean, obviously, but the year didn't matter. See, my dad and I argued about it. He still doesn't understand. I bought a 2017. And he's like, you should have bought the new one. I'm like, okay, first of all, Dad, the new one and the 2023 Lambo Huracan 610-4 Spider, which is what I got, the 2023 version is only like $7,000 more than the 2017 version, which means they hold their value. You can almost buy a 2015. 2015 is a little cheaper, but the 2017 and the 2023 are like $7,000 apart with all the options. If you buy the 2017 with all the options and the 2023 with no options, it's the same price, dollar for dollar. It's literally insane. It's literally insane. And he does not understand that. He thinks that he claims that he looked up that car and it was worth like 1.5 times more. I'm like, show me. He never showed me, obviously. So I'm not going to argue with him because he can't prove it. But I've looked at the numbers. Brand new one, 0 miles with no options is worth the same as a 6-year-old car with just a couple of extra options. Nothing too spectacular. But both being a Spider, of course. I don't know why would you get a sports car like that without a convertible roof, like a moonroof, sunroof, whatever. It's actually, no, sorry. It's not the sunroof, moonroof are like just the top. When you can take off the entire canopy. I forget what that's called. But anyway. So I found the car late January. As you all know, I've been teasing you for like literally about 2 months. Like my purchase is coming up. There's gonna because I didn't want to jinx it. I didn't want to tell the world something I did not yet have. That's just tacky. So I put in an offer. He accepted, the seller, and that was like January 25th. And I got to work. Started working on, insurance. I financed like a portion of it, like 25% of it, just because you want to build credit history, even though I could have bought her for cash. You never want to buy anything cash, fam, by the way. Even if you can, don't do it. Buy, pay like 75% of the value. Every bank in the universe will finance 25% of anything. So put down like 75%, finance the remaining 25, call it a day. It's better than financing like 90%, 80%, because you still get to build credit history and you get your shiny new thingy. So it's a win-win. And so, well, hardtop is the flip side. Yes. So hardtop is the reverse of the convertible. But I forget what it's called when you have the convertible top. I don't know. Maybe that's what it's called, convertible top. I named her Bubbles. Her name is Bubbles. Anyway, so if you can, again, I'm not, this is not like, ooh, look at me, braggadocious. I'm just telling a story since you all have asked. And so I understand that everybody has the means, and it's depressing because I wish everybody could buy what they wanted when they wanted. Like that would be the perfect world. But you have to work. You have to work for it, and not everybody is capable. And I understand that, and I respect that, and I love everybody equally. I mean, that's what I do, and I help people, and I continue to help people. Just because I have this car now doesn't change who I am. So where was I? Oh yeah. So I started work, and it was a lot of work, figuring out the insurance, because not every insurance company will insure it, and there's like different packages and this and that. So long story short, we finally scheduled an inspection because the dude is like, why do you need it inspected? And I'm like, I just do. Like, it's a car and it's a private sale and you're not a dealer. And even if you were, I still don't trust you. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. And so I told him I wanted it inspected, and I scheduled the inspection, and he was supposed to bring her in. And guess what? Battery was dead. He forgot to put her on the trickle charger. Imagine I would have arrived in Colorado and the freaking battery's dead. And we have to call AAA to hotwire a goddamn Lambo because the thing won't get off the ground. Now, the alternator charges the battery pretty well. Pretty freaking well. I mean, I watched her go from dead battery to like nearly full charge in less than an hour. It's kind of amazing. Those things are just spectacular. And I ended up flying there after the inspection. So we had to reschedule. Like the 21st, battery was dead. 25th, there was a snowstorm. The 3rd, he was out of town. And like each time it was something else wrong. And finally, March 10th, the inspection was completed. I paid for it. It was done. They sent me the report. We got all the little kinks fixed up. There were very, very few. Again, the thing only had like 3,200 miles on her when I got her. I mean, this thing has barely been driven. I drove it for more than the third of the original mileage that it had on her. I mean, think about that. It's crazy. 1,200 miles, just under. We're almost there, fam. I know I've been teasing you. But you gotta have some foreplay before you get to the main course. You know what I'm saying? You don't just like, put it in. You just want to be like, hey, let's put on some Barry White and put on some candles and put on some music, and only then you get to, come on, fam. You know me. So no, you got here at the perfect point. You got here at the perfect point. Steph knows what I'm talking about. All right. So here we go. We come to the main event. The inspection is completed. If you're not subscribed to me on Locals, by the way, you missed out on an entire rant on how I was frustrated with the guy because I still need like the bank to finalize. I still need to purchase insurance. I still need to do this. I need to buy a plane ticket to go to Denver. I mean, I have like 5 things on my list. All he has to do is just say, I agree. That's all he has to say, because I tried to renegotiate the price. That's all he had to say is I agree. And it was really frustrating. I later learned, I mean, he's not to bash him, he's a little weird. He's a little off. And I don't know if it's like he's going through something or if it's like himself. Cause I'm like, you're a multimillionaire. If he had 2 of these cars, the reason he sold one is because he had another blue on black one that he kept. And then he was selling the white one because he didn't need her. He had 2 of them in his garage. I saw them both. And then I took the one that I bought. But we'll get there. Okay. So I don't know. It was very hard to get a hold of him. Finally, this past Saturday, March 11th, he messages me. He's like, all right, deal. Let's go. Because I had to renegotiate the price because of the inspection, obviously. You know. So I buy my ticket. I wake up at like, I couldn't sleep. I could not sleep on Sunday going on Monday. My kitty, God bless her, she's sleeping over there. Welcome, Jennifer. Thanks for joining to the channel. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. Join in as a member if you're so inclined, like Jennifer. I bought my plane ticket. I started finalizing everything Monday morning, and I took a risk. He had a Bank of America lien on the car, which my bank wired directly to Bank of America same day, and I'm flying with a couple checks for the balance for the car. I've never seen a check for such a large amount of money, by the way. And that was my first one, I should say. And I flew to Colorado. I got on the plane, a one-way ticket to Denver, landed, took an Uber to his house. That's where the car was. We finished filling out the paperwork, and off I went on my 16.5-second drive from his house. What? 16.5 second? I thought you meant 16.5 hour. Yes. The first drive was about 5 miles from his home. I took a right, or like I took a left, I took a right, I took another right, and I was going for another like 4 miles, and the car starts sputtering in the middle of the highway. I am freaking out. What the hell is going on? It's a brand new car. Did he sell me a fucking junkyard? It's like 3,300 miles. There's no way this is like a junkyard car. It's a fucking Lambo, for God's sake. It starts sputtering in the middle of the highway. I am just like, and I'm looking at the gauge, and the gauge is very deceiving. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Lamborghini gauges. So the gauge is like this, right? You have 100%. You have 100%, and then at like 25%, there's a red bar, and it's about this long. And then there's a needle. I didn't realize that there are 2 red signs. There's the you're low, like caution, you're low on gas. That's like 25% of your tank, because she likes to drink. Let me tell you that. The UI guy may not be a drinker, but his new baby Bubbles sure fucking is. And the needle, I did not see, and they didn't tell me, because I didn't think to ask, hey, did you fucking put gasoline in the car before I bought her? And then I later learned the dealer was like, yeah, she was actually low on gas, but we will get there. So I am sputtering. I'm on the light 5 miles away from his home. My car is just like jerking, and I'm like pressing the gas, and she's not going. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Freaking out. So I start to I get into the right-hand lane, and the car just stops, and I can't start it. It's doing the sound that you do not want to hear when you're in the middle of a highway. And 2 thoughts go through my head. Number 1, I'm going to die. And number 2, bye-bye, brand new car. Thankfully, it's still light out. I've had maybe 7 or 8 Good Samaritans stop while I was waiting for my homeboy. or his buddy, my homeboy's buddy, basically, to come and rescue me. And he shows up, he brings gas. Now, what I did not know in the interim is how to, like, I mean, I just got this car. I don't understand its functionality. I don't know all the buttons, like how to turn the engine on and off is easy, but there's like, you can turn the engine on just battery, or you can turn the engine on, turning on the engine so you can drive. So the on button serves two functions, just like in any other car, but I haven't driven a car with a button because mine is a turnkey, my Maserati. So I'm used to like turnkey, and you never put it in, halfway just because it drains the battery. And I forgot that you need to push the button to turn it off. So it's like on for half the fucking time. So I drained the fuck out of the battery. When the dude finally comes with the gas, we put the gas in. I've been sitting on the road for about in the middle of the road for about an hour, 45 minutes now. But I'm like, well, she's out of gas, clearly. So let's fill her up. I'll be good. He fills up with gas. Same thing. I'm like, all right. Did the alternator go out? Is the battery not charging? What the hell is going on? So I call a tow truck. Another hour and a half later, I am still in the middle of the road. It is now dark. I'm dead. I'm going to die for sure. There were 2 near-death experiences that evening. 2. By the way, Colorado drivers, you are fucking crazy. You are fucking nuts. Everybody's just like, zoom, 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 zoom. I'm like, will you please pay attention? There's a car stalled in the middle of the fucking road. Luckily, I was like right in front of a light, not in the middle of nowhere. So at least they kind of maybe sort of. There was one. So the 2 near-death experiences. Number 1, it was still light out. I'm sitting in the car. I'm still by myself. There's a tow truck. There is no right of me. Okay, there is no roadway. It's the what's it called? The the concrete barrier. Okay, I guess he didn't see me in time. He jumps the barrier, and he's like half on the barrier, half on the roadway, just kind of passing me in the emergency lane, and then he gets back onto the fucking road. I am like, oh my God, that could have been a direct hit to my car and my body because I was sitting in the car. And I'm looking at him. I'm just like, dude, are you insane? That was number 1. Number 2, now the tow guys actually arrived. And again, same scenario. I guess he was maybe doing one of these, and he's got like his phone, and he's just like, and then he looks up and he's like, oh shit, that's a car, and he like, he pulls one of these like, and he starts honking at a car that is coming this way. So they're all coming towards us. And this car is coming this way. And this car is trying to like basically cut him off and honking at him. Like all you hear is, and then they're trying, rather than this guy slowing down, he speeds up. Like, no, you're not cutting me off. It's either you're going to hit me or you're going to hit the Lambo. Pick which car you want to hit. I'm like, dude, just fucking slow down. Just let him through. Like, what are you doing? And all you hear is, and they were both like this. Luckily, nobody got hit, but they almost took my door off because one of the mechanics was in my car at the time and the door was open. Even he looked at me. He's like, I almost lost an arm in your door. And I'm like, I know. Yep, I saw that. The other guy and I literally jumped out of the way because we were 100% certain there was going to be impact. Oh, it was terrifying. Just absolutely. Going back to that moment, I remember how my heart just stopped. I was like, the car's dead. That's it. And he's going to have no left arm and no left leg. And it's going to be my fault because I ran out of gas, and it's going to be it's actually going to be the previous owner's fault and his friend's fault because they didn't tell me, hey man, you should probably put gas in her because you're going to stop in the middle of the road if you don't put fucking gas in her. Oh, thankfully the tow truck finally arrives after like 3 hours, and it's dark. It's pitch black outside. The tow truck arrives after we hotwire it. We hotwire the car because now she's got like a gallon of gas and she's got a full charge. Well, not a full charge, but she got jumped. And so we drive the car into a safe spot on the highway. And then we put her on the bed. And luckily, I can just because you don't want to hook this car up. It's such a low rider. It has a functionality. I don't know if you all knew. I learned this now owning a Lambo. It's got a function that raises the front and then lowers the front, right? Thanks, Soupy Suit 73. Oh my God, wow, I'm so happy you're okay. Trust me, you and me both, sister. You and me both. Yeah, no kidding, Jennifer. No kidding. They were too busy taking the check to the bank. But listen, whatever. Okay? They're like, not our problem. Not our problem. Even though he did come with the gas, he did say, I'll be right back. I have something to take care of. I'll be back in 5 minutes. He never came back. Not 5 minutes, not 5 hours, not 5 days later. He never came back. And I will forever remember that, by the way. You have to understand, you are responsible. I don't care if you have shit to do until you resolve the situation that you have put the buyer in, you are on the hook. Like if I was driving for 5 hours and didn't realize I ran out of gas, that's my problem. That's my fault. I should have been paying attention. If I'm driving for 3 minutes 5 miles away from your home and I don't know how to read the gauge because you never taught me how to read the gauge and you never told me that she's going to be literally out of gas in 3 minutes of driving, that's your fault as the seller. And you abandoned me. It's his buddy, whatever. I get it. He's like, not my problem after he put gas in her. And he's like, but don't lie to my face. Just fucking tell me, dude, I got to fucking bounce. Sorry, your problem, but I got to go. I would appreciate that more than you lying to my face saying, I'll be back in 5 minutes and never coming back. Because I was waiting for him. I was literally sitting looking in the rearview mirror every few seconds. Like, it's been more than 5 minutes. It's been like an hour and a half. That's the most frustrating. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that F stands for full and E stands for empty. If somebody would have, right? I wish it was that easy. And apparently the dealer, well, I'll get there. I'll get there. Well, actually, I'll say it now. The dealer told me the next day, he said, you are not the first person to run out of gas in a Lambo. Apparently, it's a very common thing because the gauge is so confusing. They made that gauge like unintentionally misleading. So it is what it is. So we get the car on the bed. I ride her up there. I'm freaking out thinking, is it the alternator? Is it the battery? Did it run out of gas? Like, what's the problem? So we bring her to the dealership. I get a hotel. I crash for the night. I wake up. I go to the dealer. And, well, first I have to fill her up. Now, here's the gauge, right? Here's full. Or, well, for you guys, it'll be this is full. And then this is empty, right? And my needle is right here, like right next to empty. There's a gas station 2.7 miles away, something like that. I'm driving like less than 2,000 RPM because that's where you conserve the most gas. There's like literally cars honking trying to go around me because this Lambo is going so fucking slow. But I have no choice. I'm praying to every God I have with every fiber of my being. Please make it to the gas station, please. Because I know there's like less than a gallon in her. I know that because that's what we filled up from 0 to. And I know it's not the alternator. Because the alternator, the battery was charged. When we arrived at the dealership, she was left on and the battery was fully charged. So the alternator was functional. It was not the alternator. I'm praying to every God with every fiber of my being. Please, please, please get me to that pump. Just get me to the pump. I don't care about anything else. Like somebody even called me. They were telling me some things and I'm just like, yep. And I was not registering anything. I'm just like, please get to the pump. Just please get to the pump. Just please get to the pump. Just please get to the pump. And I made it to the pump. By the grace of God, I made it to the gas pump. And I have never, I've been driving cars since I was 18 years old. I am now almost 35. I've been driving cars for like 17 years. Never in my life had I just run out of gas on a car. Just never happened. I'm very vigilant. I pay attention. I've driven on empty, but that's because I know how much my car can take. Once I learn the car and its patterns and how many miles I can squeeze out of like every tiny little increment, it's very mathematical. It's very simple, really. But you have to get used to the car first. But with a Lambo that I just bought yesterday, like how on earth can I possibly deduce how much do I have? So I've never, and for the first time, I ran out and I'm like, just please, please just get me. And I fill her up and I'm at a full tank of gas and I'm just like, and that's not even my problem. It's not solved yet. So the inspection the dealer that did the inspection, shout out to Mike Ward. Noah, by the way, if you're watching this, God bless you, sir. Noah was one of the service techs who helped me out and literally saved me because I was getting ready to ship her. I was not going to drive her. The original plan was to have an adventure. Boy, oh boy, adventure was already had, and I haven't even left Denver yet. So I was like, this is not safe. This car is unreliable. Like, I don't know. And I have this freaking, what's his name, mechanic tow guy telling me like, oh, these cars are so prissy and they always cause problems and this and that. And I'm just like, wow, what the hell did I just buy? Like, did I really just buy a can opener with an engine? You know, I don't want that. And the owner and his friend were also like, dude, you're crazy. You understand this is a sports car. It's very uncomfortable, like da da da. So I have like everybody talking at me like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And they convinced me. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ship her. I'm not gonna drive. I'm gonna ship her. And then I talked to Noah. Noah has been repairing. He's not the mechanic. He's like the not sales. He's like the liaison. I don't remember the terms. He's like he's not a sales rep. He's just like a liaison between the repair shop and the salespeople and the customer. He's the one that like funnels everyone. And he knew Lambos. He's been helping people with Lambos for like 4 years. And I asked him, I'm like, you know, is like I can't drive her now, right? And he's like, no, Lambos are actually some of the most reliable supercars that we sell. And absolutely, if there was a car, like if you were to ask me, Noah says, if you were to ask me, what car should I drive cross country like that, like you're planning? Because I told him I'm going, 1,200 miles eastward. He's like, it would be a Lambo. He's like, you know what cars I would absolutely not trust? He named McLaren, and I believe there was one more. I can't remember. But they're still good cars. They're just sometimes they can get a little fickle. But he's like, Lambo, absolutely. I'm like, you're joking. He's like, no, I'm not joking. I'm like, okay, can we at least like do another inspection just to make sure everything is fine? He put it on the computer. Hour later, he comes out. He's like, dude, everything's fine. Alternator's working, battery's working. You must have just run out of gas because I remember when they brought her in on Friday, she was already low. So she must have just run out of gas, which screwed up the entire computer. And we fixed it all now. Like there was nothing to fix. It was just reset, right? Because when the battery, there's no gas in the car and it runs on pure battery and the battery starts getting low, it starts giving you all these issues. Like it's got like an airbag malfunction and this malfunction and TPMS malfunction and that's malfunctioning. Everything's malfunctioning, but it's not. It's not enough power because these cars require a lot of power, a lot of juice to run. That's why they're so fickle. So he reinvigorated me with confidence. And I'm like, Noah, give it to me straight, Doc. Give it to me straight. I'm about to take this car 1,200 miles. If she stops 600 miles in, like I'm fucked. Like you understand that. He's like, here's my number. Call me if you need anything. I doubt you're going to have any problems. And I'm like, all right, do I take the word of like Lambo owners or the guy who's been dealing with Lambos for 4 years? Yeah. I'm going to take the word of the guy who's been dealing in Lambos for 4 years. So, and I did, Matthew Self. This is what I said. The gas gauge, you must have missed that part. If this is it's a line, right? It's not a circle. You can't see like up, down. It's a line. And it's 100. Well, again, for you guys, it's 100 over here and it's 0 over here. there is a red bar that looks like you still have 25% tank. What it is, it's the 25% warning you are on 25% tank of gas. And then on top of that, there's a needle that goes 0 to 100, 100 to 0, right? And so I didn't notice that there's a needle on top of this red. I saw red and blue, and I was like, blue's good, red's bad. I did not realize that my needle was already at the final edge of the red zone, because if it was somewhere in the middle, I would see it. I would see it go down as I'm driving, but it's already like, if this is 0, the needle was right here. Does that make sense? That's how you run out of gas on these cars, by simply not understanding how to read the gauge. And again, Noah told me this is actually, believe it or not, a regular occurrence, which made me feel a whole lot better. So it really did. Matrix says, babe, babe. All right. Very strong opening, Matrix. I'm sympathetic to your position. Did you ask questions about the operation of the car? You didn't know about F and E full and empty. I know, right? Love you so much. You're the most endearing lawyer. Oh, stop it. Thank you. Okay, please continue. No, I'm just kidding. So Sherry's news. Patience, my darling. Jeez. We're only 41 minutes into my story. She's like, a cop stops you, you run out of gas. What else? Give me more. Yeah. I don't want to sit here and wait for you. Where's the fun? It's all about milking the occasion. See, we finished with the foreplay. Now we're in the middle of, okay, I'm not gonna finish that metaphor. Please ignore me. Anyway, so what happens next? I get on the road. I start driving. I am 15 miles. 15 miles from the dealership, and my first light comes on. Engine hot, check engine, check coolant levels. What? You performed a full inspection twice on my car and you forgot to check the coolant? You've got to be joking. You've got to be joking. So I text Noah because I checked the temperature. The temperature is fine. It's literally like on the line of good to not good. I text Noah. I'm like, Noah, the light just came on of the thing. And I'm like, I sent him a photo and it's like glowing red. And he's like, oh, again, these cars are so sensitive. It's like a few drops is the difference between okay and fuck you. I'm like, all right, I will trust you, Noah. And I will continue paying attention to it, because again, I'm not a newbie when it comes to this stuff. I can read gauges. They're not complicated. Sure, I have about 7 or 8 of them compared to like the 3 I'm used to, but all I have to do is tilt my head and like check the battery, check the oil pressure, check the oil temperature, check the temperature of the water, check the RPMs. Is anything dropping? Check the gas level. Now that I know how to read the fucking thing, you know, I'm checking all of these things as I'm going, and I'm like, oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Like the temperature of the coolant, they call it agua. Basically, it's not agua. It's I forget the Italian word. Everything is in Italian, by the way. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, before I left, I asked Noah, like, what does this button do? And what does this button do? And what does this button do? Like, I asked him about all the buttons. I think I skipped like one that I noticed later. And so I am driving through the tundras of Colorado. Speed limit the whole time, fluctuating between below the speed limit and at the speed limit. Not a dollar more. And so I basically blow through Colorado. And then I get to Kansas. Now there's certain things you cannot make up. Okay. There's certain things you cannot make up. I joked on my Twitter that there is a speed trap in Kansas because when you go on such a large map, it can't tell you like there's a speed trap here, 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 here. It'll just give you like one global one, like there's a speed trap or speed traps in this vicinity. So I joked on my Twitter like 2-3 hours before I got pulled over. I joked, I said, oh, there's a speed trap in Kansas. Ha ha ha, I'll watch out for that or something. Little did I know that I literally fucking jinxed myself as I drink my Tug water. Tug's mug and a mug. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to owning a supercar. They're really prissy. Everything is fine. I passed several cops, by the way. None of them stopped me. None of them even considered pulling me over. And then I get mean mug in the middle of Kansas, in the flatlands. There are two cars. They're not even like, you know how there's like highway dividers? There's like no U-turn. They're not even there. They're literally both parked in the middle of the grass. And one of them is a canine unit in an SUV with a dog in the back. The other is in a sedan, police car. And I drive past them, speed limit. I don't even, like, I check a rear view mirror, like, no joke. After I passed them, I checked it like 15 times. I'm like, they haven't moved. We're good. I'm good. Because I was going the speed limit and they have no reason to pull me over. 2 miles later, I continue driving unabated. I'm like in my own head, like changing music, playing some da-da-da. And I'm like, all of a sudden, I see blue lights behind me. I'm like, what the hell? I was going the speed limit. There's no way they're pulling me over for speeding. So okay, maybe he's for somebody else. I'm in the left lane. Let me merge over to the right lane. I move over to the right lane. I'm in the right lane. Should have named your car Amber, Jennifer Lopez. That's just evil. That's just evil on so many levels. And it's disgusting. Why would I do that to myself? Hey, I'm gonna take Amber out for a spin. You want to ride an Amber tonight? Number one. Number two, it's like, did I seriously? I know some of her stans think that my grift off of Amber Heard has earned me this car. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not that big a YouTuber. Like, I wish that would have been really, really nice, not having to like actually like work for it, you know? No, I actually had to work a lot for this car. I would never name her Amber. No. I'm glad that you admit that you were joking. Thank you for that, Jennifer Lopez. You made everybody laugh, and that's all that matters. All right, back to the story. Okay. So I'm driving and I see these lights. So I pull over to the right lane. He's still behind me. He changes lanes with me. I'm like, oh, maybe I was speeding. I could have sworn I wasn't, but sure. And I start slowing down. I get on the rumble strips and he's still behind me. And I stop and he's behind me. And I'm like, all right, that was for me then. I turn my music off, roll my window down. He approaches me on the left, which is very dangerous. I don't know why he did that, because we're still in the middle of a highway where everybody's flying past us. And oh God, I was wondering, why is everyone laughing at your you guys are disturbing. How do you come up with this shit, chat? See, Chad is always right. Get your Zinnia merch down below. Link is in the description. Anyway, babe isn't a strong word in the South. No offense intended. Babe, darling, sweetie, child, beautiful, etc. terms of endearment. I'll take it. Friendly platonic affection is all. Thank you. I was just giving you shit, by the way, Matrix. You know I don't care. All right, back to the cop story. So, police officer comes to my window. Normally, what's the first thing they always ask? What's the first thing when you get pulled over? The first thing that a police officer always asks, do you know why I pulled you over? Right? 99% of the time that I have been pulled over in my lifetime, do you know why I pulled you over? Except this one time. He comes up to me and I tweeted exactly what he said. But essentially, oh, I remember. He said, "Do you realize your tag is expired?" Exactly. See? Chet knows. Do you know how fast you were going? Do you know why I pulled you over? Do you know why I stopped you? Because they're looking for an admission. What is the meaning of life? I don't think they ask that. Brandon, my husband, says don't get a Lambo, ever get below half tank of gas. Well, it depends where you are. If you're in the middle of Kansas, probably a good idea. There were a couple times I refilled and I was slightly above a quarter tank because I was like, I'm too scared on where the next gas station is. Even if it's like 20, 30 miles and I still have like 100 miles on my tank, I would still not risk it. What if anything? Exactly. That's what cops ask nowadays. Chad is always right. Is another thing that this cop, how did you know? This cop actually asked me, did you know that Chad is always right? And then I looked at him and I was like, you fucking troll. And then we just laughed and laughed and then I got arrested. No. So he asks me a question I've never heard before. Do you realize your registration, maybe once in my lifetime, do you realize your registration is expired? I think I had that once when I was a kid. I was like 21 or 19 or something. I just forgot to renew my registration. I was new to the driving game. And I say, well, yeah, I don't have registration. It's not registered yet. And he's like, okay, can you give me like proof of registration or something, like an expired registration, proof of insurance, and license? And I'm like, okay, I can provide you 2 of those 3 things. I'm being honest with him. And I'm like, I pull out my license. I give him my license. And I'm like, my insurance is on my phone, so just give me a moment. I find the insurance. I show him the insurance. While I'm looking for the insurance, he's like, all right, I'm going to go to the front of the car. And he stands in front of the car, and I see him writing down. He's writing down the VIN number is what he's doing. I'm like, all right, he wants to make sure this car is not stolen. That was the dead giveaway right there. At first, I wasn't sure. But then then I'm looking in the rear view mirror, and his canine buddy joined him. Now I have 2 cops. I'm like, oh my God. That's when I took the photo, and it's on Twitter where I'm just like, got pulled over, and I snagged it with my, so you could see through the window in the back what's going on. The 2 cops parked over there. And so he's like, well, what else can you show me? And I'm like, well, I have a photo of the title because we had to get it notarized and we couldn't do it, at his house. It should arrive tomorrow, hopefully by snail mail. Express, FedEx Express. And I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? He should let me go, but you never know. He can charge me with expired registration. Then I'll have to hire somebody in Kansas or like just mail in registration when I get it. It's going to be very frustrating. But then like Twitter to the rescue. I'm reading your messages like after. This wasn't like during. It was after I left. There was somebody mentioned, and I was like, wait a minute, I think that is correct. There is a law somewhere that says you have like 3 days to register the vehicle from the date of the purchase. But here's the problem. I didn't even have like proof of purchase because this was a private sale. So I don't even have that. I'm like, oh dear God, what do I do? Like, what do I show my bank statements? Like how much money has been withdrawn? Like, what do I do? And he leaves with my license. And the photo that you saw on Twitter is his canine buddy talking with him. He's sitting in the driver's seat and his canine buddy is kind of like leaning over the window talking to him. And they're probably calling in some sergeant, captain, major, probably not the chief, but you never know. I mean, it's a very exotic car, worth a lot of money. So they want to make sure they got all their ducks in a row. They're doing everything right. Like, hey, chief, we got a potentially stolen car. We just need to verify and make sure it is or it's not. How do we do that? Blah, blah, blah. So he comes back. He says, like, I verified your license is clear. Why didn't you register it? And I'm like, well, dude, how can I'm driving it from Denver to Louisville. Like, how can I register it? And I'm coming through Kansas. He's like, well, and now he starts schooling me. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker just learned some new tidbit of information over the radio, and he wants to teach me what he just learned. He's like, well, son, let me tell you, all you have to do is before you make the purchase, even if it's a private sale, I want to make sure that you know that you can go to the courthouse and get this piece of paper that is going to be, your private registration on your brand new vehicle. And you could have done that at your local courthouse. Should I have done that? I'm playing along with him. Should I have done that at my Denver courthouse or the Louisville courthouse where I live? You could have absolutely easily done it at your local Louisville courthouse. And I'm like, all right, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. There's very useful information. Not really, because getting a temporary tag is like, as long as you have your VIN number. I'm like, all right, whatever. He's like, all right, before I let you go, actually, he didn't say that. Or maybe he did. I can't remember. But the first indicator of good news that I received was nothing that they said. So I have two cops behind me. I have the K9 and I have the sedan. Sedan is right behind me, and then the K9 is behind him. The K9 is the one that stopped second. That's Mean Mug. Mean Mug is the K9 unit. So Mean Mug gets in his car and leaves. And I even waved to him. I'm just like, because I'm so happy to see him gone. If two cops dwindle down to one, that is already good news. That is already good news. You have to know that good news, if cops are increasing, that's bad news. If you started with two cops and now there's four, that's a problem. Maybe they think you have drugs, maybe it's stolen car, maybe you have a warrant for your arrest. I mean, action is about to happen. If you went from two cops to one, your per capita police officers just dwindled by 100%, basically. That's a good news. So he leaves, and what's his name? The remaining officer comes back, and he's like, actually, he says something very, very correct. He's like, and kind of funny, actually, the way he said it. He's like, if you get your tag updated next time you buy a vehicle, you don't have to worry about schmucks like me pulling you over. And I literally look at him and I go, okay, well, first of all, officer, I never said that. And he just kind of chuckled because it was funny because he called himself out. You know, he's probably like in my head, like this is probably what he's thinking. And I wasn't thinking that at all. I was like, why did you do this to me? I wasn't like, oh, you schmuck. I was like, well, I guess should have, put in like some fake temporary tag or something in the meantime. Tag in the mail. Like I remember seeing those plates somewhere. I think I took a photo of it one time. Tag applied for, and then you just drilled on it, put it on the back of your car. I don't think anybody would buy that, though. I think you would get pulled over more than less. So anyway, officer says, before I go, do you mind opening the car door for me? And I'm like, oh, he just wants to verify the VIN number that he saw on the front of the car that he compared to my insurance. He wants to make sure it's the same number underneath, under the door. So I open the door for him, and he does the unexpected. Rather than just like look at his notes and kind of compare the number, first he compares notes and looks at the number and goes, all right, that checks out. And then he takes his finger and he just tries to scratch at the sticker. Then he's like, all right. And then he tells me again something new that he just learned, probably. Is like, well, the surefire way to find out whether a vehicle is stolen or not is like the sticker is going to come off really easily. And I'm just like, all right, Husky, am I free to go? Car should be yellow for a lemon, right? That's what I'm saying. Jesus, what a story. But luckily this now comes the fun part of the story. Okay. So at this point, I've been driving maybe about 4 hours of my 16.5-hour trip. So I'm about 25% in, maybe slightly less than. And I leave, cop lets me go. Everything is peachy. And I'm driving and I'm driving and I'm driving, and I get close to Missouri. It starts getting dark. I'm maybe about 100 miles from the Missouri line, the Kansas-Missouri line. I even missed the sign. That's the only sign I missed. I got all the other ones. I got Kentucky. I got Indiana. I got Illinois. I got Kansas. And that's it, because I didn't get a C assigned for Colorado because I started in Colorado. But the Missouri one, I guess I was driving through Kansas City, Missouri, and while I took a turn somewhere, the sign just came and went, and I guess I missed it, so I couldn't snag a photo of it. But I'm driving, and I even tweeted, I'm like, I'm probably going to stop in a couple hours and take some rest. And I'm thinking I'm going to stop in Kansas City, Missouri. It's about halfway. It's almost exactly halfway. So I'm driving, and I'm getting ready to like probably stop here soon in about an hour or so. And I get a phone call. And I start talking on the phone. And it kind of reinvigorates me, and I feel like I'm telling stories. I'm actually sharing a lot of the stuff I shared with you all now, and we're just talking about life, and we're talking about my adventures, and we're talking about their adventure. It's just kind of time starts to move a little bit differently because now I'm distracted. I would have never been able to do this cannonball run without the help that I received. I know some people were like judging me, you're a danger. And yes, absolutely. Never drive tired. Never drive drowsy. Drowsy driving is drunk driving. But I was so reinvigorated. Plus, I may have had a Red Bull or two. But I really was reinvigorated because you're distracted. You're talking to someone. And I just kept going. And we're talking. And I'm like, don't you have somewhere to be in the morning? And they're like, no, we're good. Don't worry about it. I got you. And I'm just like, okay. Drowsy driving can be very dangerous. Do not drive drowsy. Very, very dangerous. So I just kept going. And I'm like, they're like, where are you now? I'm like, I'm in Missouri. And like, I'm passing. At the time when we started talking, it was like, I was passing Kansas City. And all of a sudden, they're like, where are you now? I'm like, I'm in St. Louis. Hey, I'm on the Illinois border. I just crossed into Illinois. And we just keep talking. It's 3:00 in the morning. I'm in Indiana. It's like 5:00 in the morning. And then we just keep talking. And that talking literally, Brittany, I bet you're really fun at parties. I love you. And I finally get to Kentucky. And they asked me, like, where are you now? And I'm like, I'm 5 miles from my house. And they're like, shut up. I'm like, I'm 5 miles from my house. No way. I am 5 miles from my house. And I get home and I park and I look and it's my house. And that's my cannonball run story. 16 and a half hours. I only made 6 stops. Every single one of them was for gas. I wish that was a joke. She likes to drink. She likes to drink. A lot. But I expected it. It wasn't like a surprise. So I was very, very pleased that I was able. I did not crank Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. I never said that. I did, unfortunately. I did play some other songs. I did play music in the first half, but music will not keep you awake. Trust me, I've tried. Yeah, right, Ed? They're on Twitter, Matrix. They're all on Twitter. I'm glad I was able to take you all with me. I hope you really, truly enjoyed it. I never said it was a her, by the way. Nice try, though. So the gas ended up costing more than the car. You are absolutely right, Gamer Soldier. So I am. I am absolutely in love with her. This car runs like a top. I mean, going from, there's a surefire indicator about any vehicle where you're experiencing problems in the beginning and you're just like, man, I don't think she's going to be able to take it. And then you get that reinforcement from the dealership and they're like, dude, these cars are made for this kind of shit. Like legit made for this kind of stuff. So you stop listening to the naysayers and you just like, I trust you. I trust you. No, it wasn't 12 hours. It was about 10, just under. It was about 9 hours. Like 9.5. No, it was 10 actually. No, it was 10. I did the math. It was like 9 hours and 58 seconds, but who's counting? Um, so, oh no, when I said her, I was talking about the car. When I said her, I was talking about the car. So anyway, it was amazing. I wish I could have taken you all with me, but this was not one of those like stream and drive. That's extremely dangerous, especially in a car. I know I've done it before, but I've done it on like 10-mile trips, like 7 to 8 minutes of driving. That's okay. Like, especially if you know where you're going and you don't need directions. If you are driving such long distances, I mean, I will not lie. I arrived home and as soon as my head like hit the pillow, it was literally kind of like this, like I'm awake, I'm awake, I'm awake, I'm asleep. It exactly happened like that because I was so tired when I finally got home, hung up the phone, and it just hit me like that. When you have someone to kind of like keep you going, that is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. I challenge you, like, don't overdo it, but try it maybe. If you get tired, just a little tired, maybe like call a friend and be like, hey, can we talk? Sure, what's up? See if you can go an extra hour. I mean, if you still feel like you're just, I can't do this. I mean, you see how animated I am. I'm just like that when I talk to my friends on the phone. So I'm still the same level of like, oh my God, you won't believe what happened. Da 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 da. You know what I mean? So there you go. Tinkle Tits McGee. What a name. I've called friends to help keep me awake sometimes. That does work, says Rita. How's the feeling of the driving? I mean, I got to know every nook and cranny of my car, so that was definitely helpful. I really enjoyed that portion of things. Um, I mean, just feeling her. I kept the canopy up the entire time. I did not want to. Holy crap! You drove from Texas to Vegas. Is that really a 23-hour drive? Unless you were coming like all the way from the South Tip, I guess, all the way to Vegas. Is that really that long? That's not even like cross country. That's like diagonal. Damn. She is white on black. White exterior, black interior. From Dallas. Really? Dallas, Texas to Vegas, Nevada. Giving me flights, so it's definitely a long one. No, it's only like 17 hours. It probably took you. Okay, so, all right, hold on. My 16 and a half hours that I keep alluding to, my 16 and a half hours is just pure driving. I'm not counting all the stops. If you want to count the stops, it was probably close to 18 hours because I arrived at 8 o'clock in the morning. I arrived at 8 o'clock in the morning and I left around like 1:30. So yeah, it would be like 18 and a half hours. No, I left even earlier than that. Hold on. I can actually verify the exact time I left because I texted the owner's friend to let him know that I am on my way. Yeah, it was 1:30. It was 1:30. So whatever that is, 1:30 p.m. is when I left. 8 a.m. is when I arrived. Respectfully, we support you here. No Twitter here. Please share on this platform. Am I being? No, you're not being disrespectful. It's hard to like remember. I shared it on Facebook, which none of you have. I know that for a fact. But Twitter, I did share because Twitter is like my um, mass sharing megaphone, I suppose. And I just haven't shared it on YouTube yet. Just asking that you share among platforms. I will. Maybe do a live here and show us. That's tacky. I don't know. Maybe. Her name is Bubbles. I named her Bubbles. No, I said, you don't understand. I shared it on my Facebook, which none of you have because I keep my Facebook private. Like that is friends and family only. That's what I meant when I said none of you have my Facebook. None of you are on my Facebook is what I meant. Oh my God. So it was even longer. Dude, you're right. Because I went, okay, so I drove the entire I drove the entire central time zone in one day. I have that under my belt. Drive from border to border of a time zone because I went from mountain to central to eastern in one swing. I did do that. Um, and you're right. I started at mountain time. There's no way I drove for 20 hours straight. There's no way. No, I think I'm confusing something. It's got to be 18. 20 would be 20 that just doesn't make any sense. I think it's 18 hours. 16 and a half of actual driving because I have a little timer on the car. That's how I know. Um it is like the Powerpuff Girls. I didn't think about that. I don't care. When it comes to a car, I mean, she's so vicious. She is so here. I'll share a photo since you all have asked. She's just so mean, like oh my god. It's actually it's on the thumbnail. It's on the thumbnail, but she's just so oh god. You can't name her like White Lightning, you know? That's too much. Like it's too aggressive. Aggressive car, aggressive name, aggressive everything. You can't do that. That's too it stacks too much. You want to like contrast it, you know? This is her. That's her. The dealership is actually right over here. You can see there's like a McLaren that's going to be repaired. There's like a Lambo Urus over here. There's a bunch of other, it's just dark, a bunch of other cars. This was the night before my drive. Um, that's Bubbles. You can zoom in a little bit. Elkanix says, I haven't been able to get on and watch, didn't realize how addictive you are. How are your three lovely daughters doing? So your car's name is Cruella? Right, because white on black. That's funny. Stormtrooper car. It's going to dodge a lot of bullets and be unable to shoot. Bubbles just fits. Like everything else, Tuxie. When are you going to be on Twitter again? You mean not Twitter? I was on Twitter like an hour ago. You mean when am I going to be on locals again? Is what I think you're trying to ask. And we did miss you. That's right. I was about to say, like, where has she been? She hasn't been on in a while, and I think you just joined because we've been doing this for like an hour and a quarter. But yep, that's Bubbles, and that's Tug's mug and a mug. No. So, yep, that's about it for my story. I didn't sleep a whole lot. All of them, every single one of them, Koenig. All three are still single. Jesus, what is the matter with them? What's wrong with each and every single one? Give me the juice. Give me the deets. Give me the dirty. Like, I have three daughters and they're all single. I swear to God, everything is completely fine with them. I swear. I'm just teasing. So the next day, I slept only like 4 hours. I had like a phone call, business phone call, wake me up at like noon. Um, yes, bath time. Yeah, that was on locals. If you have not seen my locals, that's where the real bubbles are. And by the way, shout out to who somebody sent me a couple of books and a loofah and some like shower cream or something. Thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. I was very not ready for that because it arrived to my office because that's where that's the address that's public. And I'm like unboxing and I'm like, all right, we have ink for the printer and I have some packages here. And I have the gift from Mandu, which by the way, thanks again, Mandu. I don't know if I shouted out on my YouTube yet. Mandu sent me like a $450 bottle of champagne. So thank you for that, Mandu, for rescuing his channel from oblivion. And all of a sudden I'm unboxing and I'm like, there's a loofah in here. And I like pick it up and I'm just like, what am I doing with this loofah? And then there's like a cream and then there's like more books. And I'm just like, what the hell? And then there's a note and I read the note and I'm like, oh, that all makes sense now. So yeah. Of course she is. What do you think the 18-hour process was? The car went through Giyul. The car has went through a conversion process. The car is now officially Jewish. He says, Larry, is the car Jewish? You can't be driving any female not Jewish. That's actually one of the funniest comments I've ever read. Oh God. I have four daughters. Sorry, my apologies. I shaved off one daughter somewhere in there. For some reason, I thought it was three. I have four daughters and they're professionals and they're working on their careers. Good for them. I know. I don't know why you have the need to explain. By the way, El Koenig is a former model, and she was and still is fucking gorgeous. For the record, it's a kosher Lambo, right? It's a kosher lamb. Oh God. Mm. That was great. So what's next on our list? So there are a couple of trials coming up. One of them I literally just found out about today, and it's coming up in 10 days, 9 days. Letitia Stouch is starting on Monday. And then Danny Masterson is starting in a week and a half. But then we also have this puppy right here that Adam Waldman tweeted earlier today. I don't remember if I shared it publicly yet or not. I don't think I have. Here it is. It's not going to be televised. It's literally being done practically in secret, which is really disappointing and depressing. Look at this. Adam Waldman tweeted this earlier today, about 8 hours ago, 9 hours ago. In 11 days, a hip hop star is on trial alongside a fugitive Chinese spy, two U.S. presidents, two U.S. national security advisors, White House chief of staff, two presidential campaign chief fundraisers, and Leonardo fucking DiCaprio. And I looked it up. This is a real thing. There was an article that somebody shared. We're not going to read it together. It is extremely long. It is extremely long. This is like a stream in and of itself. How rapper Pras Michel got entangled in one of the century's great financial scandals, mediated a high-stakes negotiation between global superpowers, and was accused of major crimes. You're too sweet. Thank you very much. What a wonderful compliment. You're welcome, LK Nick. You deserve it. And now we're just going to scroll down to the end where it gets interesting for your purposes. Mikhail's trial is set to begin on March 27th in Washington. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's fucking talking about this. It will feature a rare convergence of superpower rivalry, beltway politics, and Hollywood glamour. China-US relations, and Leonardo fucking DiCaprio. Kenner, who's previously represented rap artists such as Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight, is seeking to call Obama and Trump, both targets of Lowe's influences efforts. He's one of the Chinese people involved in all this, a higher up, kind of like I think he was kind of like, what do you call them? Ambassador. I think he was kind of like an ambassador, Lowe or Lao, I guess. As witnesses, though it's uncertain whether either former president will appear, because you can't call a sitting president to testify, but you can call former presidents to testify. Question is, will they show up, or will they look for like ways to dodge showing up, basically? That's the question. Meanwhile, DiCaprio is also on the witness list for the government, as is Higginbotham. I'm not sure who that is. Maybe chat can tell me. Who filings show is cooperating with prosecutors. His testimony will be crucial. Kenner says he'll argue that Higginbotham is violating his professional obligations as Mikhail's former attorney by disclosing their interactions. If convicted, Mikhail is likely to be treated far more harshly than the other Americans involved in Lao's lobbying campaign. Higginbotham pled guilty in 2018 to a single count of conspiracy to make false statements to a bank, with any sentence to be determined later. There's billions and billions and billions of dollars stolen from like 1MDB. That's the scandal. A representative for Higginbotham didn't respond for a detailed message. Lum Davis was sentenced to 2 years in prison for her own guilty plea to one count of aiding and abetting violation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. So basically, Mikhail's mistake is he's going to trial. He should have pled, I guess, is what they're trying to say. Broidy pled guilty in October 2020 to a count of conspiracy to violate FARA, stemming from his work with Lao, but he was pardoned by Trump 3 months later. The following April, he signed a cooperation agreement with the Department of Justice, which promised not to prosecute him for other crimes that may arise in its investigation in exchange for his testimony and other assistance. And for the time being, there's little chance that the man who brought them all together will even see a prison cell. Wanted on a range of charges by the U.S. as well as Malaysia. You see how many countries are involved? Malaysia and the United States both want this man. Lau is believed to be living in China with his family, although he's keeping a low profile. No pun. Lau is keeping a low profile. He is occasionally spotted in public. One of the last sightings was in 2019 in Shanghai Disneyland. So I got this from Waldman today. Nobody's looking into this stuff. It's not going to be public. It's not going to be televised. No cameras. I mean, you got sitting presidents potentially testifying. Do you really think they want to drag a camera in there? Jesus Christ. That is going to literally blow up the entire, like, it's already blown up. You know, the latest failure, Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, and Biden coming out saying, oh, don't worry, trust banks. It'd be all right. Really? Really, bro? It'd be all right is your argument? I heard word on the grapevine. I don't know if it's true or not because I haven't seen any articles, nor have I really looked. But um, did the FDIC $100,000 cap been lifted? Does anybody know? Somebody said, oh, maybe it is low. I don't know. Does anybody know if the $100,000 FDIC Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation cap has been lifted from our Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation? Like, if you have $1 million in the bank and the bank fails, do you get $1 million, or do you only get the 100,000 or the 250? Sometimes it's 250. I've seen. We don't know yet. That's not good. That means it's rumor. It's 250K now. Oh, I thought it was 100. I know, like, some banks are 100, maybe some are 250, but I think it's been 250 for a while. FDIC 250K insurance limit. September 13th, the standard deposit insurance amount is 250,000 per depositor per insurance bank for each account ownership category. The FDIC insures deposits that a person holds in one insured bank separately from any deposits the person holds in another bank. That was changed? That was changed in September of 2022. That's only 6 months ago. Okay, so it is 250. I knew, but it's not unlimited. I heard, again, rumor, speculation. No one is confirming. FDIC remove cap. I don't know. Let's see. Probably not. What happens if you have more than $250,000 in the bank? Bottom line, any individual or entity that has more than $250,000 in deposits in an FDIC insured bank should see to it that all monies are federally insured. It's not only diligent. I don't know what that means. So you can insure excess deposits. You can, oh my God, you can buy insurance for your money. You're kidding. What? That's a thing? Wintrust Financial has a business model that works well. The company owns 15 several, which allows an individual to insure up to $3.75 million by opening a CD and money market accounts. Yeah, but it doesn't mean shit, because if Wintrust Financial fails, then who cares about all your insurance? I know. No kidding, Ed. Ed says, now that you own a Lambo, you need to know this stuff. You have arrived. Jesus. Well, it can work at a bank that collapsed if the government bails them out. Like what happened in 2008 when Obama did the $7 trillion, or was it $700 trillion stimulus package? What a number. For various account ownership titles, that dollar amount can go significantly higher. So the majority of the public has nothing to worry about if they have less than 250,000 in their account. But this is why, so like I made the joke recently when I was getting ready to buy the car, like I feel safer. It's weird. I actually feel safer owning that car because the money is not sitting in my bank. Like, isn't that terrifying? It's almost like keeping it under your mattress, buying assets, because assets don't vanish. Bank fails, money gone. You know, if money invested, bank fails, big deal. Um, man, I think we're on the verge of an economic collapse. It's been 93, 92 years. No, 94 years since our last stock market crash. Stock markets collapse right like completely every about 100 years. That's like the cycle of a stock market. You know, you had the tulips in the 18th century. We had like a collapse in the 19th century. We had the collapse of 1929. And now we have the collapse that's coming up. We have about 6 years before it happens, like somewhere between 4 and 8. Probably later rather than sooner because the government is going to keep trying to bail people out. No, the 2000s, that was nothing. That was a drop in the bucket. I'm talking a full blown, like you have a stack of cash, you have a stack of hundreds that is like this thick. You have a stack of hundreds and it's basically worth like $1. That's the kind of economic collapse I'm talking about. Those happen about once every 100 years, like the real ones, not the fake foo-foo. Oh my God, houses cost more today. No, I'm talking you need to buy a loaf of bread. You have to knock someone's teeth out because it's the last loaf of bread for the day. That's the kind of collapse I'm talking about. And I know I probably sound like a conspiracy theorist. And trust me, I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist. And if you had asked me 10, 15 years ago, I would have been like, you're nuts. Because everybody talks about it all the time. But the signs are there. The price of eggs is going up. Meat has become very scarce in certain places, in certain parts of the country. Luxurious meat has become scarce. Gas prices are going up. AI intervening, by the way, as well. People are not going to be able to hold as many jobs. A lot of robots are taking over, more people out of work. All these things, like if you take each one individually, it's not going to change anything. But it's the cumulative effect of all these things. And eventually there's an implosion. And the system has to correct itself. And once it corrects itself, then we're going to see stability. But it's going to take about 3 years to stabilize. So we're going to be in an economic collapse. I withdrew all my savings yesterday and the government not touching a dime of mine. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like when people start losing faith in banks, that's it. That is the final sign because it's now going to start having a cascade effect because markets don't collapse overnight. It takes like 2 decades of distrust in the government, distrust in the banks. One fails here, another fails there. And all of a sudden you go from like one failure every 5 years. Now it's like one failure every 2 years, like one failing every month. That's where we're headed. But it's only a question of time. So don't take my word for it. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to how many tickers on the New York Stock Exchange are being paused for no reason, it appears, by the NYSE themselves. I've never seen such high numbers of NYSE putting no trades on certain tickers, for example. Jenny says, Mazel on your new car, you deserve it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. LK Nick says, no, Larry, you hit the nail right on the head. I'm telling you, it's not just me. It's all the signs, people talking about it. It's what you're seeing. You just killed the mood after all that. Hey, this is real talk. This is 100% correct, says Subi Su. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to predict the future. What I do know is that God forbid if something goes sideways, The nice thing about having a lot of loans, like my building, my condo, like those are still not paid off. Obviously, I paid a lot of money for real estate is very expensive, and plus the small loan on my car. Um, if I'm ever in a position where I have like, let's call it more assets than I need, I can just dump them all, pay off a bunch of chunks on the loans, which is really convenient. It won't always be there. It won't always be there. So you always want to have like a safety net. So I have my safety net. El Koenig owns a nightclub up in Indianapolis. So she is, I imagine, quite wealthy, quite wealthy. And I don't blame her one bit for withdrawing her money from the bank. Again, distrust. So the Great Depression took only one day, not counting the weekend. They went to uh, bed Friday rich and woke up Monday broke. Right. But this, again, what I'm saying is it didn't happen overnight, not in the literal sense. Like the signs were there, just there were people who were paying attention, the people who weren't. We're not just going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden everything's gone. Like that's not exactly. We're getting there. We're getting to that overnight, but it hasn't happened yet. Um, start buying seeds and growing food. That's one way. That's one way. Um, my inheritance is in my safety net. As long as it's like in the trust fund, then you're safe. Just don't keep it at like a bank. You know what I'm saying? Keep it. I think. Actually, wait a minute. I don't know the answer to this question. All right, chat. You have a mission. Help me out. If let's say you get $1 million inheritance from your grandparents and you put it in an irrevocable trust, and the trust is like give $10,000 a month inheritance. Obviously, it's being held somewhere. If the bank fails, does your trust disappear with it? Because my logic would dictate that yes, your trust will disappear with the bank. I don't know if FDIC insures trusts unless your trust is protected in some way. But if the bank doesn't have any money, it made a shitty deal like Silicon Valley Bank, you would lose your trust, right? Because the trust is with the bank that you are. It's not like literally sitting in like a bucket somewhere. It's it's in it's in a trust that is part of the bank and it's in their assets. Up to 250K. You're really smart, Ed. Thanks for joining, by the way. You came literally at the right time. I really appreciate all your input. That makes sense. See, that's what I was thinking. But I didn't know about the insurance. I was thinking you would lose it, but you would lose up to 250K. So the FDIC will insure you because it's kind of an investment. You're right. Not an investment, but it's an investment into the bank. It's a deposit into the bank. So that makes sense. Better throw in this is not financial advice disclaimer in. You know what? I'm gonna do that right now. That's a good call. Because I have this is not legal advice, but I don't have this is not financial advice. You never know. You can never be too careful. You can never be too careful. A bunch of people are gonna like withdraw their money and be like, I could have earned $1.50 if not for the DUI guy. I withdrew all my money. And it's like, bro, okay. Now that is comedy. That right there, Jan, is comedy. How did you come up with that? Please don't make Bubbles your sacrificial lamb. Oh, this Pesach. Oh, is it Zinnia time yet? I'm going to show you something very cute first, and then something even very cuter thereafter. Oh, damn, she woke up. You're right. I have a summer home and I have a condo also. I have an apartment in Indianapolis. Need to get rid of the apartment and do something with the condo. It's 5,000 square feet. That's a lot. That's like 5 times what I have. At least four. Way too big for me. Any buyers? Beautiful condo. I saw that, a great price. Go buy El Canic's condo. This is Zinnia, for those of you who don't know. Now, here's the part you're not ready for. Trying to be quiet. Let me see if I can zoom out real quick. Give me 1 second. I think I'm zoomed in all the way. There we go. Oh, I have a laser pen, Maurice. I just don't. This is more fun because I can bring her right to the camera. All right. Woo! Brightness. Good gravy. Crikey, mate. Oh, man, I just saw all my blemishes. There we go. So, Zinnia time completed. Now my camera's crooked, but that's okay. We're about to sign off. Subi Sue says, "Oh my god, she's so cute. I have 3 kitties. Isn't she? She's so adorable." And thanks again, El Koenig, for the very generous donation, by the way. So I hope you all enjoyed the story and the post story talk. I'm going to be busy the next few days. I have a jury trial on Tuesday. I'm going to try to stream when I can. See, I only like to stream when I have quality content. So I'd rather like not stream for a couple days than just try to milk whatever is on the table. So, but I'll try and stream tomorrow. Saturday. And in the interim, I will be preparing for my jury trial on Tuesday. Still don't know if I'm going to lead the thing. I have my reasons. It's not a DUI. It's probably going to be televised. It's my first trial that's going to be televised by the media if they wish to televise it. But this is the first opportunity that a trial could be televised of my own. It won't be like Law and Crime or Court TV or anything crazy like that. It'll just probably be the local TV, or they may just do a story on it. They may not televise the whole thing. That's going to be up to our local news stations. But they were present at pretty much every important part of the trial. She did. Amber finally lost on Monday. I haven't done the video yet, but I've done the video that basically preludes the fact that she loses and then she lost. So like, why make another video on her? You guys are tired of hearing about her and she lost. Who cares? Let's wait for the actual result of the case or the trial or whatever of New York Marine versus her. And they're probably going to win without trial. You don't need to take this case to trial. Elkanic says, that's why I haven't been on. I had to have my cat put down. No! Oh my God. I am so sorry. Oh, man. Oof. That literally just gave me chills. I'm so sorry. Wait for bringing the mood down. I'm just kidding. It was already down with all the talk of real Great Depression. I'm so sorry. That's never easy. They're like members of the family. Like literally. And that's tough. Olga decided to show up. Hey, Olga. I'm teasing. So yeah, I'll stream when I can. We'll be doing the trial on Tuesday, and then Wednesday morning I'm off to the Bahamas. So I'll be there. I'll try and be living under a rock while I'm in the Bahamas. I'll be like those Italians. I don't know nothing. I don't hear nothing. I don't see nothing, officer. Literally, I'll come back and I'll be like, what I missed in the last week. And I come back that following Tuesday, like the 20th or Monday, the 27th, and I'm going to be in town for 1 day. And then I'm going to Nolans, spelled Nawlins. NOLA. NOLA is after that. So I'm literally in town, like I'm gone for a week or just under, like 5 days. Then I'm back for 1 day, and then I'm going to a conference down in Louisiana. And then I'll come back like April 3rd, I think. I'm back in town like for trials. Because then I have a trial, DUI trial every week. And some I'm trying to punt over to my associates. Some I will do myself. And yeah, I mean, I no longer need jury trials as YouTube content. I have this stuff. So it's really great. I mean, my long-term plan is to eventually have like maybe 5 trials a year. And then I can pretty much work from anywhere. I can literally be in Milan, sitting on a balcony in Italy and just working, taking client phone calls. And it won't even be a vacation. It'll just be like a second home, It'll be really nice. It'll be really nice. So don't miss me too much. I know you guys enjoy my shows and my streams, and I appreciate that, honestly. But DUI guy also needs his rest time. And it's been a very stressful 9 months since my last vacation, like my last real vacation, going to a beach and sand and paradise. A DUI guy needs a break too. So thank you all for joining me. I love every single one of you, as always. Thank you for participating. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me shit. Thank you for being able to take shit. And that's why I love you, Chad. Chad is always right. Go buy the merch. It's down below. Bye, everybody.